Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 59, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. I took this time to, as I was all but sequestered into this lovely log cabin, to revamp my combat loadout in all manner of things except for my armor, as I really didn't need or want to change it until I dealt with Slime God and could switch to Statigel Armor. So instead, I upgraded my space gun into a magnet cannon that instead of shooting a straight laser at something like its previous form, this new magical gun used my mana to send a ring of slower plasma that would collide with its targets. And to further round out my ranged options, I finally gave up and did it. I made the mini shark. Actually, I made like half a dozen as I needed the guns to make other stuff, and it was literally an astoundingly easy thing to make as it didn't have all the complicated firing mechanisms a normal gun would. No, instead it was a weird weapon system platform I made with some iron bars and then shoved into the gullet of a small, dead shark-like fish, and then the shark's teeth would somehow merge into the gun and become a mini shark that I could carry around and shoot. Did I think that guns were stupid and weird for a fantasy world? Yes, I most certainly did, and I wasn't and couldn't even rely on them until I could make the stronger ones, as I knew damned well that Ace could move and fight at more than a couple of 100 miles an hour if she wanted to, so she could cut and block bullets out of the air if the rounds could even pierce her enhanced adventurer body to begin with. But the majority of time I spent in that cabin, I worked at the arduous process of creating a couple of enchantments from the Fargo's mod. Because with the Fargo's mod, I had a massive list of things called enchantments that were just badges that had whole skills attached to them, like normal accessories I could craft. But these accessories were different, as there were literally 76 of them, and I could combine them all together at some point, allowing me to have the effects of all 76 of them in a single accessory slot. To say the least, the Calamity mod was the background of my combat strength, but my foundation and what will truly make me ascend this world and become invincible was the Fargo's mod, as once I reached the endgame item of making the Soul of Eternity, that was the combination of literally a couple hundred accessories. Yeah, if I had it now at my current level 2 strength, I had no doubt I could roll Otter without issues. So, in the 3 days I spent in the cabin, I made 4 enchantments with all the materials I collected that I knew would be useful for a good while anyway. The rain enchantment, which made me immune to getting wet. Also, summoned a small storm cloud above wherever I was looking that would every few seconds strike it with lightning. And apparently, most importantly, make me float at waist height in water. Granted, this enchantment wasn't the greatest, but the storm cloud effect was strong, and it was good practice to make it, as I used all pre-made things made by other people, so I could get practice on how the hell to merge the weird objects together to make the enchantment. The Necro enchantment that would perform some necromancy on slain enemies and would revive them at 1/10 of their natural strength, which was a great loss of ability, but when I slaughtered dozens of monsters in a dungeon, when I called upon a horde, or just dealing with the hordes called by the dungeon should I continue the pre-made tunnel system, that would take a lot of pressure off me, and it was also easy to make, as all it needed was a bunch of stuff crafted out of bones. The Snow enchantment that would bless all my spells, melee, and even ranged attacks with a secondary effect of something called Frostburn, basically reverse flames that would give extreme frostbite to whoever was hit by me, while also giving me the ability to once every 15 seconds send an all-consuming flash of icy essence around me that would freeze any enemies that weren't bosses or had special resistances. And lastly, the Wizard enchantment, as it only required 4 robes made out of slightly magical materials. That last enchantment only had a single effect, and that was to double the effects of other enchantments, which wasn't much now, but later when I had 70 plus of the damn things. So, while Sir Fluffykins got used to riding the Wolfram drone with its new weapon of choice, a mini shark filled with non-lethal confetti rounds, I just enjoyed the screams of agony coming from the Apollo Familia members getting shot all through the nights by my terrorist squirrel, and likewise, during the day I kept them awake with the sounds of my beating metal in the outdoor anvil, until finally at the end of the second day, as I was cooking a pizza on the outside fire stove, I heard someone outside the hedge line call to me. Jake, you there? I heard a woman call out to me, and after almost 3 days of only talking to an insane squirrel that wanted me to escalate into making confetti bombs for him to throw at the Apollo Familia, I was honestly open to talking to literally anyone. Yup, I am here. Who is speaking? I asked as I went to spin my pizza around in the stove so the back side of the pizza wouldn't get burnt from the flames in the background. I heard some hurried whispering before the female voice spoke again, and as I pulled the pizza out of the oven, I realized that the voice belonged to Cassandra, Apollo's seer. Jake, the Apollo Familia has given up. We built the scaffolding to get to the top of the tower, and of course, there was nothing there. We can't destroy anything to get into your house, as the wood blocks explosives and spells. So, we give up. Cassandra spoke tiredly, and I paused as I wondered if this was a trick or something, but she continued in her tired voice. You have bullied us with great-smelling foods, and we have been all but tortured for the last couple of days, with no sleep being possible to get. So, me and Daphne are calling it quits so we can actually get sleep tonight back in Rio, and with us the only level 2s left in the Familia, leaving, the rest of the level 1s should follow us. Cassandra finished and then moved away from the hedges, but I saw one shadow standing through the hedges where Cassandra was. You know what, Jake Barris, I cannot tell if this plan was cowardly or just you being merciful. Either way, I thank you for saving our lives against that monster Rex. I heard Daphne Lyons, Cassandra's minder, typically who kept the erratic girl who was messed with mentally by her prophetic dreams. And thus, I was left alone for the rest of the night as the Apollo Familia truly just left the site of the wargame as they threw their hands up in defeat without a single drop of blood being shed. Except for the people shot with exploding confetti and the one idiot who tried to climb the ice tower without any scaffolding, only to fall off and break a leg. Wonder if Seshet spilled the beans about me leveling up, and just what do the gods think of my treatment of wargames? I mused as I bit into my pizza, just enjoying the gentle, soft noises of the wildlife surrounding my log cabin. Which was a big change from life in Rio.